I wasn't born rich. I wasn't born smart. I was just another broke guy sleeping in his car, trying to make something out of nothing. I failed at everything I touched until I realized something no one ever told me: failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. I used to think I was cursed. No, really, like some ancient gypsy laid hands on my baby head and whispered, let this one trip over every damn rock in his path. Because that's exactly how life felt. One long stumble with barely enough time to catch my breath before the next face plant. I wasn't born rich, wasn't born smart. If anything, I was born average and dumb enough to believe I could be more than that. I guess that's where the trouble started. I remember my first big idea. I was 19, living in a studio apartment above a Chinese takeout joint. Place smelled like fried rice and regret. I'd saved up $2,000 working the night shift at a gas station and thought I was some kind of entrepreneur. I blew it all on used equipment to start a t-shirt printing business. Had a name picked out and everything, Grindhouse Threads. I was gonna hustle out of my trunk, sell to gyms and barbershops. Thought I was gonna be the next Damon John. The first batch came out crooked. Ink too thick. Lettering smudged. Half the shirts looked like a toddler drew them during an earthquake. I sold 3. To my mom. And then I just quit. Told myself I'd get back to it. Never did. Another half-cooked dream left to rot in the back of my mind, right next to the time I tried selling sneakers or flipping boxes on eBay, or that one week I convinced myself I was gonna be a YouTube star. Each one felt like the one. Each failure stung worse than the last. By 24, I bounced through more jobs than I could count. Stocked shelves, answered phones, slung drinks, mopped floors. Every time I got a little momentum, something would knock me flat. Car broke down. Rent overdue. Girlfriend dipped. Landlord kicked me out. I remember one night I slept in the back of my car outside a Taco Bell. It was raining and the window seal was busted, so I used a hoodie to plug the leak. I stared at the roof of that beat-up Nissan, water dripping down the glass, and thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what I deserve. I don't say that for sympathy. I say it because it's the truth. Failure didn't just haunt me, it moved in, unpacked its bags, and started eating my cereal. But here's the twist no one tells you about rock bottom. Once you've been there long enough, you start to get comfortable. Like, weirdly comfortable. You stop flinching when things go wrong. You stop fearing the fall because, hell, you're already on the ground. Might as well learn how to crawl. What I didn't know then, couldn't have known, was that every single bruise, every shitty job, every laughable attempt at success was stacking up behind me like bricks. And one day, I'd look back and realize I was standing on top of them. But that comes later. Back then, I was just a guy with cracked knuckles and no plan. Still living like hope was a luxury item. Still trying to shake the idea that I was cursed. And then came the mistake that changed everything. It started with a phone call I almost ignored. I was on my lunch break, sitting on a curb behind the building where I worked security for a construction site. I just scarfed down a microwave burrito and was scrolling through job listings I wasn't qualified for when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. Should've maybe. But I was bored and a little desperate, so I answered. Hello? Yo, is this Chase? Yeah. My name's Chase, by the way. Chase Landon. Nobody special. Just another guy trying to outrun the bills. Yeah, I said, cautious. Who's this? This is Reese. You remember me? From back in high school. My cousin used to date your sister. Reese. I hadn't heard that name in years, but yeah, I remembered. Big mouth, flashy cars, always talking about the grind even when he was cheating off other people's homework. Last I heard, he was flipping cell phones or running some sketchy crypto group on Facebook. What's up, man? I asked, trying not to sound suspicious. I got something for you, bro. You still trying to make money, right? That was a dumb question. People like me are always trying to make money. He launched into his pitch, fast and loose. He and some guys were importing electronics, flipping them at a markup. Mostly legit, he said. Amazon returns, surplus stock, things like that. He needed someone to help move product, maybe handle some cash transactions, maybe do a couple pickups. And like a complete moron, I said yes. I told myself I was being smart. That I'd only do a little, see what it was about. I wasn't trying to break the law, just trying to catch a break. The first gig was simple: pick up a few boxes from a guy in a parking lot, drop them at a storage unit Reese rented. He sent me $100 before I even started. Cash app, smooth. Easy. Then came more. A little busier. A little messier. Before long I was doing 3-4 runs a week. Sometimes the packages were light, other times heavy enough to make me wonder what the hell was inside. Laptops? Phones? Something less innocent? Didn't ask. Didn't want to know. But I should've. One night, after a delivery that took me into a part of town I usually avoided, I came home to find 2 plainclothes detectives waiting on my front steps. They weren't smiling. Chase Landon, the taller one, asked. I nodded, stomach turning to ice. We'd like to ask you a few questions. What followed was 6 hours in a freezing room at the precinct, my mouth dry, my brain foggy, trying to explain how I was just the delivery guy. I didn't know what was in the boxes. Didn't ask. Didn't think. Just needed the money. They didn't arrest me that night. Said they'd be in touch. But I knew then I'd screwed up. Bad. That was the worst yes I ever said. But funny thing? It was also the most important. Because that disaster? That brush with real trouble? It woke something up in me. I stopped running. I started thinking. For the first time in years, I sat down and really asked myself, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep failing? And the answer was ugly, but it was honest. Because I never learned from the fall. I just kept standing back up blindly like an idiot in a boxing ring who refuses to block. That night, I made a promise. No more shortcuts. No more hoping for luck. No more half-baked hustles. If I was gonna fail, and God knows I would, then I'd fail with intention. I'd learn from it. I'd bleed, sure, but I'd build from it too. No more wasted mistakes. And that promise? That tiny shift in how I saw failure? It was the first spark that lit the fire. After that night, I dropped Reese like a hot pan. Blocked his number. Deleted the burner app. Hell, I even tossed the hoodie I used to wear on those runs. It smelled like stale fear anyway. I wish I could say things turned around right away, but life doesn't work like that. For a while, I was back to square one. Sleeping on an air mattress in a buddy's living room, watching dust float through sunlight while I scrolled endless job boards. Every listing needed a degree or 5 years of experience. I had neither. Just a GED, a beat-up laptop, and a resume that read like a list of bad decisions. But something was different this time. I wasn't desperate. I was hungry. See, when you finally accept that failure isn't the enemy but the teacher, everything changes. I started treating life like a workshop. Every rejection was a data point. Every no became a map to a better yes. I read like crazy, books, blogs, forums. I didn't have money for courses, so I hit YouTube like a man possessed. Digital marketing, copywriting, basic coding, how to set up a Shopify store, how affiliate links worked, anything that smelled like potential, I poked at it. I started small. Freelance gigs on platforms where the competition was brutal and the pay was a joke. First gig I landed? Writing product descriptions for a guy selling beard oil. 50 descriptions. $20. It took me 6 hours. But I did it. Sent it off. Got 5 stars and a glowing review. And in that moment, I felt something I hadn't in years. Momentum. I didn't sleep much after that. I worked night security, came home, hammered out gigs for pennies, learned between shifts. Built a website. Created a portfolio. Cold emailed companies, pitched ideas, tracked every failure, every bounce, every rejection. I kept a journal. Called it my failure log. Every page had 3 parts. 1. What I tried. 2. Why I think it didn't work. 3. What I'll do different next time. Some people keep gratitude journals. I kept receipts of my faceplants. And damn if it didn't work. Within 6 months, I was making almost enough from freelance work to quit security. Wasn't ballin' or anything, still eating ramen and gas station sandwiches, but I saw the path. For the first time, I didn't feel lost. I wasn't chasing luck. I was building skill. And let me tell you, skill is louder than luck. One gig led to another. I wrote a landing page for a startup. They loved it. Came back for more. Then they referred me to another company. I started learning paid ads. Took a gamble, ran a few Facebook campaigns for a fitness coach. Made her $1,200 in a week. She paid me $150 and I damn near cried with joy. I realized something else too. Failure was addictive once you stopped fearing it. Every time something didn't work, I got excited. Like, good, now I can tweak it, fix it, level up. I stopped trying to avoid mistakes. I started mining them. And slowly, piece by piece, I built something real. It wasn't flashy. No viral moment. No overnight explosion. Just scraps and sparks. But it was mine. And it was growing. Things started to move faster after that. I picked up more clients, more projects, even a little rhythm. I was running on caffeine and Google Docs, barely sleeping, always thinking, always learning. My days looked like this: wake up, slam a gas station coffee, knock out client work, study marketing tactics, rewrite cold emails, test new ad copy, repeat. It wasn't sexy. But it was real. One night, and I remember this so clearly, I was staring at an analytics dashboard for one of my clients, a guy who sold tactical gear online. I'd launched a test ad using a headline I wrote after binge reading old sales letters from the 90s. The ad hit. Not just okay, not just break even, crushed. We were talking a 6x return in 48 hours. Orders flying in. My phone buzzing like a beehive. And right there, in that dim, crappy apartment, hunched over a wobbly IKEA desk with my laptop overheating under my hands, I laughed. Like, really laughed. It was the first time I realized. Holy shit. I'm not guessing anymore. I know what I'm doing. That was the first time I felt dangerous in the best way. Like I could build something big if I kept pushing. So I did. I stopped freelancing and started building my own thing. A digital marketing agency, just me at first. I called it Firewire Digital. Cheesy name, sure, but it had bite. I went all in. Built a brand. A site. Created packages. Focused on results. Started hunting bigger clients, fitness brands, e-commerce shops, course creators. You know what I realized? Nobody cares about your fancy degree if you can make the money. That became my edge. My superpower. I wasn't some agency in a glass tower. I was the guy in the trenches who failed 50 ways before he figured it out. And people felt that. They trusted it. I could say, I know what it's like to have $200 in the bank and need that next sale to hit. Because I did. And that kind of honesty? It cuts through the noise. Soon, I hired my first assistant. Then a part-time media buyer. Then a designer. I was building a team. A real one. And then came the call that flipped the whole game. A client I'd worked with for just 2 months, a guy running a subscription box for outdoor gear, called me freaking out. We just hit $100,000 this month, he said. From the ads you built. Man, I don't know what to say. He offered me equity. Just like that. From failed hustler to partner. I stood in my kitchen after that call, holding my phone, staring at the cracked tile under my feet, heart pounding like a drum solo. Because that wasn't just a win. That was proof. Proof that all the L's I took, every stupid idea, every gig that went nowhere, every rejection, every night I wanted to quit, mattered. They weren't waste. They were weight. And now I had the muscle to lift it. But with growth comes pressure. Bigger clients. Bigger expectations. A team looking to me for answers. The stakes were higher now. And that old feeling? That fear of messing it all up again? It started creeping back in. Only this time I didn't run from it. I used it. Success is a weird drug. It doesn't hit all at once like people think. It creeps in. Subtle at first, a few more zeros in the bank, a calendar full of calls, strangers quoting your advice back to you like scripture. Then it flips. Turns on you. Gets heavy. At first, I loved the grind. I craved it. I was up before dawn, inbox popping, Slack threads pinging nonstop. I was onboarding new clients, scaling ad accounts, hopping on Zoom calls from my car, pitching brands at gas stations between road trips. I even rented a shared office space with windows. First time sunlight hit my work in 2 years. It felt like I was finally breathing different air. But here's the thing no one tells you when you start winning. You don't stop being afraid of failure, you just get more creative about hiding it. I started skipping meals. Sleeping like garbage. Snapping at people. I told myself I was in the burn zone like that made it noble. Truth was, I was spiraling. I didn't know how to rest because I was terrified it would all vanish if I slowed down. And then came the breaking point. One of my biggest clients, a multi-million-dollar e-commerce brand selling supplements, called me on a Monday morning, voice cold, tight. Chase, he said, we're bleeding. What the hell happened with the latest ads? I pulled up the dashboard. My stomach dropped. Something was off. Conversions were tanking, budget spent wild, one ad set had burned through nearly $5,000 overnight with zero return. A stupid mistake. A broken link in the funnel. My fault. I rushed the launch, didn't triple check it. That little oversight? Cost the client nearly $12,000. They dropped me 2 days later. Just like that. Gone. I sat there in that fancy office space I thought I'd earned, hands locked together, watching my reflection in the black screen of my laptop. And all I could think was, this is how it starts again. This is how it falls apart. But then something unexpected happened. One of my team members, Hannah, my assistant, messaged me. Hey, that sucked. But it doesn't define us. What's next? That hit me like a punch in the chest. Not because it was deep or profound, but because she was right. I'd spent so long thinking I had to carry everything alone, like that made me stronger. But real strength? Real leadership? It's admitting when you mess up, owning it, and coming back sharper. So that's what I did. I called the client. Apologized. Took full responsibility. Told him I'd fix it for free. No contracts, no payment. Just me doing the right thing. He didn't take me back. But he told 4 other business owners about me. And one of them became my biggest deal yet. See, failure doesn't stop coming. It just changes shape. And success? It doesn't make you bulletproof. It just gives you better armor if you learn how to forge it from your scars. That ad campaign disaster could have ended me. Instead, it leveled me up. Because in the burn zone, you either melt or you temper. I chose the second one. After the supplement fiasco, something shifted in me. I stopped chasing volume. Stopped saying yes to every project that flashed a decent paycheck. I started thinking bigger. Thinking smarter. I wasn't just trying to survive anymore, I wanted to build something that could outlive the burnout. That meant systems. Delegation. Clarity. So I trimmed the fat. Let go of a few clients. Streamlined services. Instead of offering everything under the sun, I narrowed it down: high-converting ad funnels, retention strategy, email marketing. That was the secret sauce. And then came the pivot. A guy named Marcus reached out, founder of a fitness brand that made weighted vests for endurance athletes. He'd seen a case study I wrote on LinkedIn about recovering a failing ad campaign. Said he was desperate. Sales were flat. Budget was tight. His competitors were eating him alive. I liked his tone. Straight shooter. No fluff. We hopped on a call and I pitched him something different. Don't pay me up front, I said. Give me equity. 5%. I'll rebuild the funnel, redo the copy, and handle the ads personally. I don't want a retainer. I want skin in the game. He paused for a long time. Then said, all right, let's roll. I went all in. We tore the whole sales process down. Shot fresh videos, rewrote every email, rebuilt the product pages, cleaned up abandoned cart sequences, added upsells, switched payment processors, and launched a 3-tier funnel with 2 lead magnets and a retargeting loop that looked like a spiderweb. First month? $47,000 in revenue. Second month? $92,000. By the 4th month, we cleared $213,000. And my 5%? Started looking real nice. I remember opening my Stripe dashboard late one night and seeing a payout notification that made my jaw drop. $10,685. One payment. More than I used to make in 3 months working security and driving Uber. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just sat there. Staring. Silent. Because it wasn't the money. It was what it meant. Every failure, every blown ad, every bounce check, every night I went to bed thinking I was a loser, it all led here. Not to luck. To leverage. I leveraged every dumb move. Every broken deal. Every second I spent learning from things that didn't work. Failure wasn't my enemy anymore. It was my fuel. And now I had receipts. I invested part of that money into tools, better team members, coaching. Started speaking at virtual summits. Got invited onto podcasts. Wrote a damn ebook that did over 3,000 downloads in the first week. Not because I was special, but because I was honest about the ugly road that led me here. People respected that. They related to it. By the time I turned 30, I'd hit my first million in revenue between client shares, launches, and consulting. But the number wasn't the prize. The real prize? Knowing I earned every inch of it the hard way. The year after I hit that $1 million mark, I went back to the place I used to park my car and sleep, the Taco Bell off I-55. I pulled into the same corner spot. The light was still busted. The sign still flickered like it couldn't decide if it was open or dying. I sat there for a while. Windows down. No hoodie stuffed in the cracks to stop the rain this time. Just me. Breathing. You ever have a moment where you realize you're standing in the middle of your own origin story? That was mine. It wasn't just about the money. That was nice, don't get me wrong. But the real win? It was the clarity. The peace. I used to think success would feel like champagne and confetti. Turns out it felt more like quiet confidence. Like the moment when you know without a shred of doubt that you can handle whatever comes next. Because you've already been through hell and you learned how to take notes on the way through. A few months later, I got asked to speak at this entrepreneurship panel for underdog founders. Nothing big, local event, maybe 100 people. I almost said no, but something told me I should show up. When it was my turn, I stood up, took the mic, and looked out at a room full of people who had that look. The look I used to wear every day. Tired, beat up, hoping someone would give them the cheat code. And I told them the truth. There is no secret, no shortcut, no magic strategy. You're gonna screw up. A lot. You're gonna invest in the wrong things, launch bad products, trust the wrong people. You're gonna run ads that flop, write emails no one reads, and watch your dreams burn in real time. Good. Let it happen. That's how you build the muscle. Success is not about dodging the fall. It's about learning how to fall better every time. You don't win because you got lucky. You win because you learned how to lose without breaking. That's the whole game. The people who figure that out, they're unstoppable. Afterward, someone came up to me, young guy, nervous, said he just failed his first startup and thought it meant he wasn't cut out for business. He asked me what I would have told myself back when I was in his shoes. I didn't even have to think. I said, good. That means you're right on time. And you know what? I still fail. Still get things wrong. Still eat humble pie. But now, I expect it. I welcome it. Because every time I stumble, I get closer to whatever's next. Every scar's a badge. Every no is just fuel for a better yes. And somewhere out there, there's another version of me. Sleeping in a car, sitting behind a desk, cleaning floors, staring at his cracked phone and thinking it's too late. I hope he finds this story. And I hope he knows. It's not too late. He's not cursed. He's just learning. Same as I did. Same as we all do.